So I wanted to wait till CinemaCon was over this year to kind of give my own thoughts through individual videos on some of the presentations that happened. And I watched what others had to say. Like I watched Chris from 3C Films, give his take on it. And he basically, in his own way, basically felt like it was kind of like a night and day kind of situation with CinemaCon. Like the first few presentations, were decent, but not on par on what they could be. But then out came the last, couple of studios, and they just basically, knocked it out of the park. So let's start with Disney. Disney, of course, has a lot of stuff coming out this year. They have Inside Out 2, which comes out in a few months. They have Mufasa the Lion King, which is a prequel to The Lion King, the live action one, and I guess the animated one. So they have they talked about those and everything. They actually showed, from what Chris said, they showed about 35 minutes of Inside Out 2 to the attendees there at CinemaCon. I don't know if they showed a trailer or anything for Mufasa the Lion King. I don't think they did. They did have Kevin Feige come out and talk about Thunderbolts, and basically said that Thunderbolts is going to have an asterisk next to it, and that basically when it gets released, that's when we'll get the full official title, the real full official title of what it's going to be, called instead of Thunderbolts. So in other words, the asterisk is kind of like a holding, I guess you could say a holding title, if you will, a working title. They did show 15 minutes of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which I'm looking forward to seeing because I saw War of the Planet of the Apes. I did. I saw that. In fact, I have all three of the Planet of the Apes right here. I have all of them. And I even have the original Planet of the Apes, if I can find it here. I have the original one right there. The original classics from the 60s and 70s. And I think I have the other one that they did before, these three came out. But yeah, basically, I'm looking forward to that. And they said the footage they were given, the 15 minutes of footage they were given, looks tremendous. Probably the best CGI rendering for the apes, if you will, ever. Then they said they showed a couple of minutes of Captain America, the new World Order, I think that's what it's called. And basically, it's described, because they did put some descriptions out as well. It's described that basically Thunderbolt Ross, who is obviously going to be in Thunderbolts, there's no doubt, but Thunderbolt Ross, played by Harrison Ford this time, is the president. He is the president of the United States. But he may not be on the up and up when it comes to superheroes like Captain America, which is Sam Wilson's character, and others, including the Winter Soldier and all that, and the new Falcon as well. And the premise they gave for it, I'm not going to say too much of it here, but they basically said the premise looks really good, sounds really intriguing, and it's going to make you want to go and see this when it comes out, along with Thunderbolts, because obviously it's going to lead into Thunderbolts next year. And both movies are scheduled for 2025 next year, and I think they do have another Marvel movie they're working on as well. I can't think of it right now that they have planned for 2025. So you're looking at potentially 2, maybe 3 MCU films coming out next year to help build up to the next Avengers film, whenever that will take place, which originally was scheduled for 2025. I'm assuming now it's going to be like 2026, 2027, almost to the end of the decade, I can assume. But yeah, they gave a good presentation. They knocked it out of the park. They were the last ones. And a lot of people have said they really brought their A game. So I appreciate that, being someone that grew up on Disney. And, I can't wait to see, what they bring to the table. If you're a fan of the Alien franchise, they did show a trailer, some clips, if you will, footage from Alien Romulus. And basically, from the description, it is getting back to what brought the Alien franchise to the dance when it first came out, starring Sigourney Weaver. and that is it's getting back to its, you know, bloody horror roots, if you will. In other words, it's going to be very graphically, you know, bloody and violent, you know, in its tone. So I don't watch those kind of movies because, you know, I'm born again Christian, and, you know, I live in, you know, the house of a prayer warrior, if you will. So yeah, ain't no way I'd watch that kind of movie even if I had the opportunity. But yeah, that's, you know, they basically said that that's gone back to what it should be. And really, that's really about it. They didn't talk about any animated feature that's going to be, you know, next in line, you know, after Wish. I think they do have something planned for next year, but that's about it. But overall, Disney, you know, from what I just told you, and I'll link you to other people here in these videos because these are all going to be separate ones. Disney basically knocked it out of the park. They did a tremendous job. And I hope they have a good rest of 2024 because some of this was for this year, like Inside Out 2 and Mufasa. And going into next year, like, you know, with the MCU, it sounds like they're doing a good job and trying to build some momentum for that as we head into that next chapter of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially if it's going to be the multiverse Secret Wars, I should say, saga. They did announce too, I think they announced this alongside it, they did announce that there is going to be an Inside Out show on Disney Plus coming this year to coincide with the movie. So that's going to be cool. I don't know when it'll be released. I'm assuming it should be released after the film, so that way, you know, what we see in the series takes place after. And that would be cool to see. They did talk about Moana 2. Actually, they do have a movie. Correct myself. They have Moana 2 coming out, so that's after Wish. They had The Rock come out, do a dance, you know, Samoan dance, I think. And so, yeah, they promoted that. And from what they saw with that, because they did get footage on that, they said that looked really good, too. They thought that looked great. And so, yeah, I got to correct myself there. They do have a animated film coming out this year that coincides after, that takes place after Wish, you know, from the film chronological, release dates, and it will be Moana 2. It will be Moana 2. So yeah, I'm assuming they also talked a little bit about the live action remake coming next year as well. But that's really all I can say about Disney and everything. Can't wait to see what they have to bring to the table. And I will talk to you later on the next video. My phone's ringing, and I am out.